welcome. This is our waste webinar that we do every week at the same time, where we get to basically talk about a topic and then do a Q&A session at the end. So that's how this is going to work. We will go through some content. Today, our content is going to be marketing and the do's and don'ts of marketing. And then if you've got any questions, we will answer those at the end. If you do have questions, put them in the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. Do not put them in the chat. If you put them in the chat, we won't see them. We monitor just the Q&A. So if you've got questions, put them in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen, and we will get to those at the end. They don't have to be pertaining to the topic today. They can be pertaining to marketing, or they can be pertaining to really anything in the waste industry. Whatever you've got questions on is fine with us. Also, if you are watching on YouTube later on and you're not live with us today, if you do have any questions about, like I said, the waste industry or this topic in general, you can email us at info@routeconsultant.com, and we'll take care of those questions for you. So hopefully we can get through this and not have any more internet issues. So we'll go ahead and just jump in. Actually, I'll give an intro to Tommy first. So Tommy is our resident expert here at Route Consultant for the waste industry. He's been doing it for quite a few years now, and knows just really anything and everything. So hey, Tommy, how are you?
Hey, Leah, I am well.
Great. Seems like we always have some type of technical difficulty when it's you and I, but hey, we make it work. So as far as marketing goes in the waste industry, I know that there are several different sectors of the waste industry. We've got, industrial, commercial, residential. How does marketing differ really for each of those sections? Let's kind of do a brief overview here.
Yeah, I would say that just because who the customer is and the type of customer, it's different based on the line of business, because residential is definitely different from how you would approach and market to businesses. And then even within the businesses, commercial versus industrial and construction is a little different as well. Again, it's just different types of waste, different types of volumes. And so you would look at those different. I would say but the big thing that is common in all of them is so much about waste is people just want it to disappear. And so the biggest thing is to make sure, find a way that they know you're a viable option.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just as long as it goes away in some form, I'm sure people are happy about that. So the highest chance of that getting gone feels like the best bet. Perfect. Well, let's kind of walk through the different sectors. Let's kind of cover residential first. What kind of clientele are you marketing to? What efforts may you, have in your marketing sector if you're marketing to, like, say, residential?
Yeah, I would say, for residential, you're specifically talking about single family households, duplexes, things that are small. We're not talking about large apartment complexes. And of course, there's two different ways. There's the municipal, which are the big contracts, and then there's subscription where you do it individually. And so I'll touch base on the subscription side first. And really, as far as marketing, you want to show that you're involved in the community where you're trying to get business. And I would say, the best way to do that is where do those people go? Where do they hang out? And I would say two things to really consider, just, two right off the top of my head would be schools. And I would also say the ballparks, the municipal parks. And in both of those situations, so schools, there are all kinds of activities. There's all types of programs. And so my kids are grown and have kids. So a couple of examples I'll give real quick is one of my grandkids goes to a smaller school and they had a talent show. Well, in that talent show, they had to have two different programs because, again, it's a smaller school. And there was a company that gave snacks to the kids in the talent program between the two programs. I can't tell you how many times their name got mentioned. And again, it's just, hey, we appreciate this company that's doing this. And then on the other side, I have other grandkids that go to a very large elementary school. And so they have programs for each individual grade, you know, and so but there's a sheet of paper that has, here's what the kids in this grade are going to do. things. They're always looking for sponsors. Those things are not expensive. You go to, ballparks, whether it is at the schools or at a municipal park, there's signs on fences, things of that sort, just to let you know I'm here, I'm in this community, and here's what I do. I mean, those are two easy, not very expensive ways to get your name out for the residential community.
Absolutely, that's awesome. And you mentioned municipal as well, and I know that there's less kind of advertising marketing for municipal because it's contracts. And if anybody wants to know about municipal contracts, we did a webinar about that a couple of weeks ago, and that is on our YouTube channel. But is there any other advice you would give if you are trying to get a municipal contract?
Yeah, I would tell you on municipal contracts, one is just make sure you're on the bid list. But how you market municipal contracts is find out who the key decision makers are, who the players are. It's going to be making that decision, and make sure they know who you are. And so that is the best way to market, yourself in municipal contracts, is know who are the people that are either going to recommend or make the final decision, and let them know who you are. That's the best way you market in for municipal agreements.
Perfect. Well, that's great advice on both fronts there. Um, so kind of another sector we've got is, I would say, kind of this more commercial businesses. What are the best ways to market to those places?
Yeah, I would say for commercial, most companies that are serious about the commercial business have sales reps that are out on the street. And so, they're out selling. And the great thing about the commercial side is that every open business is a potential customer. There's not, could this people, should this person use my service? It is, they need my service. Now it's my role to go in and try to, make them aware. And so, you know, those individuals are critical to help grow that business. But I would tell you, just from a marketing outside of the actual sales function, a good way is to get involved in, the business social environment, meaning, the social gatherings from the chamber, get involved in a civic club that's local. That way you're able to get your name out, you meet people, and then if you have sales reps that are out there knocking on doors, just letting them know you're there, that is really the best way to approach on the commercial side of the business.
That's great. And then we've got kind of finally, I would say, kind of like an industrial kind of construction side of things. I think is really our kind of last, or the third sector here. What would you recommend for that?
Yeah, I would say with the industrial and the construction side of things, I'll break those down, because really how you approach construction is different from how you will approach the businesses, the industrial side of the business. So on the construction side, it is really calling on construction companies. It is, making sure they're aware. It is going to job sites. You know of a big neighborhood that's going in that, it's primarily one builder. Go out there, find out who is running the show for that location. Go to, commercial industrial construction sites and find out who's running the show, because reality is that person's going to move to another site in the not too distant future whenever that gets done. And so it is letting them know, getting a comfort level with those folks, that you can handle them, that you can take care of it. And in the same way as it relates to construction, home builders association, those types of targeted specific uh, business organizations for construction, get involved in those, go to those, let people know again that you're there and available. On the industrial side, it's really different. I would tell you, for the industrial, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide, are you going to offer compactors or not?
Mhm.
And there are different types of compactors. We've done other seminars that talk about that, but you have to decide if you're going to get involved in the compactor business before you start pursuing that, because that's a whole lot of that. These are businesses that have, large volumes from manufacturing plants, assembly type plants, but then it also large apartment complexes, large grocery stores, big box retailers, those. And then on the industrial side, the most areas have an industrial park. You'll hear it called an industrial park. That's where the big plants, the big facilities are. You have someone go in and target, in that area, speak to those folks. They need to understand compactors. And then from the retail, it's going to be very targeted. Unlike the commercial, it's targeted to just those that have large volumes of waste that you want to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So let's see. I know, kind of shifting gears just a little bit here. Of course, those are the different industries and different ways to, who you should be reaching out to in the clientele. But let's move a little bit maybe to kind of the, I'd say, digital marketing side is maybe how I'd say it, website, things like that. Of course, everyone needs to have a website nowadays. Any recommendations, tips, tricks on what should be on those websites, or just kind of general information on any of that, or social media even? I know that's maybe not as common in waste, but websites for sure, I know.
Yeah, I would tell you, you definitely need a website. It does not have to be elaborate. I mean, you can make it as elaborate as you want to, but having a website, really validates you as a business in today's world. They see your name. They don't see, you don't have a website that they can go to and find out something. Chances are you're not going to have that opportunity. But, a few things that you need to have on the website, of course, who you are. You need to let them know what you do, because in this, again, in the waste industry, it could be commercial, it could be industrial, it could be construction, it could be residential. So you need to explain to them, what they do. But the biggest thing is, how do they contact you? How do they get information? Whether they're able to send you a message, or even if it's just, hey, email us at this, and create the link for them to do that. Those are the biggest things. And anytime you can get customer testimonials, I mean, just things like that. But it doesn't have to be flashy, it doesn't have to be elaborate, because again, the waste industry isn't necessarily fancy and elaborate. But so make sure it's practical, and the people can get what they need, but most of all, that they have a way to get in touch with you on that.
Yeah, and I can definitely kind of agree with the testimonials part. I think that maybe when you're kind of initially starting out, I don't know that that's something, people automatically think about getting, but particularly when you're starting out, getting really good reviews and testimonials and things like that on your website, and also, on Google reviews and things like that. I know personally, I live and die by reviews. So making sure you're putting some emphasis on that, particularly when you're starting out, is really important as well. Can and maybe they have this in the waste industry, but that's why I'm asking. Referral programs, specials, things like that. Are those things that owners offer in the waste industry, kind of to drive marketing, drive sales?
Yeah, I would tell you that it is more common on the residential side.
Yeah.
Because that's where it's easy if they refer somebody to give a month free service, and again, it's not a whole lot of money. It's, from 20 to 40 bucks typically, that you're able to do that. But also what it does is it will have people talking to their neighbors to get that free service, and it
Mhm.
gets your name out. It gets that, and the big thing it does on the subscription side is that it improves your density. And again, time is money, and so it improves your density. So you're able to do more stops in that hour that truck is out on the street. So that is common. The other thing I would tell you that I think referrals work very well in is with your employees.
Mm.
Again, they don't have to make sure a new door or somebody moving in, could they be a customer, because they could. And so if you have something where you allow your employees to get involved, some type of lead program where you would pay them so much if they give a referral and it turns into a sale, that is another great way in this space because they don't have to validate whether they can or should be a customer.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, referral programs with your employees, generally draw up pretty good business. Is there any certain kind of amount of, referral fee that you would recommend paying your employees if they did bring in a new customer, or would it just vary?
I think it would vary and it would depend on what they do. But I've had people in the past that have gone out on their own, even on weekends to communities they're in. Hey, we started going in this subdivision and they would do it on their own. You pay them, half the month's revenue, the full month's revenue. And if they get you, 20 or 30 customers where they're already servicing, that works out well that have kind of made that their side hustle, outside of working for us, that's their side hustle and would go out and do it, in the evenings when people are home and on the weekend.
Mhm. That's great. That's really great. Yeah, you could definitely said like you said, the density too, that would get it in places that they already are. Stop density is really an industry. Any industry creates so much efficiency that it's, better for costs and really everything for the business. So that's awesome. Um, is there anything else kind of you'd like to add on just generally about marketing that's, any do's, don'ts, tips, tricks, anything additional you would like to add?
Well, I think as it relates to marketing, social media, is it critical? I don't think it's critical, but I also think it's important. But again, kind of like a website, social media, people are going to check on those things. And I would tell you it's more important to have visibility and have some level of activity there. Again, more so, I would tell you it's more about your activity needs to be more about education.
Mhm.
If you're going to be on social media in some way, education about the waste industry or something, that's going on, just something that would pique their interest to have them look. It's not going to be as much about promoting what you do. It's going to be much more about an educational side because again, people just want it to disappear. So
Yeah.
that's what they want.
Yeah, they're not necessarily thinking about the ins and outs of the waste industry. So
Yeah,
right.
right.
Awesome. Well, that's really all the questions that I had today. So if you have any additional questions, if you think of them, later today or 3 weeks from now, email us at info@routeconsultant.com and we can take care of any questions that you've got. We've also got our Waste 101 on our website. It's a free course, just a short course, but it gives you kind of just an overview of the waste management industry, which is great, and see if you like it. And then if you do decide you want to learn more, we do have our Waste Summit on our website as well. So it's a little bit of a longer course. Basically, at the end of the summit, we want you to know if the waste industry is something that you are interested in pursuing or not. So gives you just enough to education, to say, hey, I really, really like this. I want to pursue it, or hey, maybe this isn't for me. If you do purchase the summit, we've also got our in-person workshop here in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you do purchase the summit, you are able to come to the in-person workshop where you can meet industry experts, meet everyone at the team here at Route Consultant, and just learn more about the industry as a whole. It's a great Q&A chance and really just, an education opportunity for everyone. So perfect. Well, I think we're good there. So Tommy, thank you so much for all of the information here on marketing, and we'll see everybody next week.